Hi, good morning, world. Today is, oh gosh, it's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I am jumping on the live today because I am about to relaunch an introductory webinar for something called Operations Empathy. The webinar takes place next Friday on July 26th at 10 a.m. Registration is included in the description for this stream, and I'll be posting online in a few different ways, so keep an eye out. Let me set the stage a little bit. So I work on organizational culture. It's this big, audacious thing that I decided to go after a few years ago, knowing that it was just really ambiguous. Most of us have some understanding of what organizational culture is, corporate culture, right? Most of us have a positive or negative feeling about it, perspective on it. You may have had some bad experiences where, culture was the thing that got imposed on you in the place where you worked. Or you have a bad experience because culture was just, the branded polo shirts you received and a couple of parties, but it didn't amount to anything more than that. And you felt, oh gosh, it just kind of felt maybe a little empty. Corporate culture can be like that. Organizational culture can be like that because it's very open-ended. It's just very open-ended, right? You have this this sort of character of the organization, personality of the organization, and it's expressed in a myriad of different ways. That includes the branded polo shirts. That includes the parties, right? It includes special language and jargon that you use. I'm not going to go kind of list and list and list and list and list. I could. I just want to get across it's big and it's open-ended and it's ambiguous. And that's okay. That's one of the reasons why it's so difficult for an organization to make anything of culture. But it's also critical. When we talk about culture, we're talking about the personality and character of the organization. And if we are sort of self-reflective about that, that is connected to our personal value system. It's connected to our inspiration and our sense of purpose through work. And if we're in any position of power inside an organization, now we have all of this influence over whether and how well a workforce is able to connect with some sense of purpose or some internal values code or ideal. So how do we handle that? What do we do with that? We have this responsibility, but it's a weird, ambiguous thing to go after. So what we do is we create some common language and some common tools to help us understand and then make progress with organizational culture. And if we look at it as a system, and it is a system of trade-offs, right? You push and you pull between different values in the organization. And because it's organized, every discrete operational element, right? Every policy, every manager decision, every job description, each element of your strategy, even the overall design philosophy of your organization, is making decisions between competing value systems, right? To give you an example, you cannot give employees more autonomy without sacrificing control. And there are reasons you need some control. So when you're influencing your culture through your operational choices, you're always trading off, you're always balancing, right? This is a system we should be able to observe and then influence deliberately. So toward that end, what I've been working on is tools and means to assess culture, to understand it, right? Which is just a way of saying that we need to measure using some common language so we can talk about it constructively, right? So we can productively work at it and collaborate over culture. And I'm leveraging those tools to go after some values-based or inspirational end game for culture. It's a horizon line objective for what you would like your culture to do, how you would like it to influence people in your organization. Now that's exciting because it means we get to go after creating a sense of purpose, and we get to go after creating fulfillment for people. We get to go after this idea that your workforce, right, your employees will be better off after having worked with you because you're being deliberate with their experience. That's also a little scary because these horizon line kind of inspirational ideas of this amazing culture you want to be, you're never going to get there. You're never going to attain those far off objectives, but you're not supposed to. Those far off objectives are there so that you have a direction to travel in. And so success here, success with organizational culture, is not about achieving an ideal culture. It's about the traveling, right? It's not about the arriving, it's about the traveling. It's not about the knowing, it's about the learning. So to become an organization for whom culture is a core competency, right? With whom organizational culture is a strategic line. You're not achieving a cultural identity, you're becoming competent with change, and you're becoming competent with the process of self-reflection and choice making and movement. So all of that comes around to this concept of operations empathy. Operations empathy is a model that I've designed to describe that horizon line objective. It is an end state for organizational culture. It gives us a direction to travel in. And so in working with me and working with Operations Empathy, the goal is not to achieve that end state, it is to become competent in the traveling. Let me give you an idea, more an idea what Operations Empathy is. So empathy, interpersonal empathy, is something we're all familiar with. That's depicted on the left. It is a cycle of perceiving, understanding, and then acting, right? If I am being interpersonally empathetic with my daughter, for example, if she comes to me angry, I am not going to respond in anger. Rather, I process her emotions. I process her expression. I observe my environment. I recognize that she is hungry, and then I act by feeding her, giving her food. And that is a system. It's a cycle that's internal with human being, right? And it can be described in these terms: emotional contagion, right, is the intake; emotional disconnect is the level heading; cognitive empathy is the context and understanding; and then behavioral empathy is my response. That cycle can be modeled at a community level, and it can be modeled at an organizational design level. And so the cycle that exists, the cycle we're going after, is a healthy relationship between the workforce and the organization through very similar mechanics, right? Shared learning, objectivity, contextualization, and responsiveness. Now, that is all an end game to go after, right? So if culture is a system that we can study and understand and make improvements on, and we have an end state or a horizon line cultural identity to go after, that means we can make progress over time. That's the whole game. The whole game is just having a direction to go in and then know how to take steps forward. And if you are taking steps forward and you are becoming competent as an organization that can and does take steps forward, that is the definition of a healthy organizational culture. That is the end state of an organization that's good with culture, and you're being good to your employees. That's what I would like to work on with you. So, long story long, I am relaunching an introduction to Operations Empathy on July 26th at 10 a.m. The registration link is included in the description here. I'm excited to do this. I'm a little nervous to do this. I'm passionate about this, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Please register. And until I speak to you, have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Cheers.